What's up, JPEGs? This is my review for Missing. There will be spoilers for this movie as well as the 2018 film Searching, which this is a spiritual sequel to. Like Searching, Missing is a computer screen mystery thriller, which means that the entire film is shown through computer screens, phone screens, browsers, webcams, security cameras, stuff like that. For both movies, I thought this gimmick was actually extremely well done, but I thought Searching did it a little bit better. One example that bothered me a little bit as I kept watching Missing was that June's webcam was always showing on her laptop. First off, who does that? Like, who wants to see their own face every single time they open their laptop? Second off, I feel like it was a bit of a cheap way to stick to the gimmick because technically, okay, yeah, it's on a screen, but it felt like they were using it as an excuse to show close-ups of June's face and her reactions and emotions to things, even when it didn't make sense that that's what would be on the screen at that time. The intro of Missing is pretty similar to the intro of Searching, where we have a couple parents, we have a child, one of the parents gets sick and dies, but as I watched the intro for Missing, I kept feeling like this is just the Searching intro, but not as deep, not as emotional. We're not seeing the progress of the disease. We're not seeing kind of like the day in and day out of these people in this family. And so when the person dies, it doesn't really feel, you don't really feel the weight of the loss because you don't see what is actually lost. But as it turns out, her father didn't actually die. He was abusive and went to prison for assault and drug possession. I'm not sure how much the movie actually hints at that or makes reference to it before it actually makes the reveal to us. In Searching, if you really paid attention to it and you really paid attention to the details and thought things through, the clues are all there. And if you really take your time to think about it, you can piece together who was involved and why they were involved and how they were involved before the movie actually makes that reveal to you. But with Missing, I don't really get that same sense of, everything is coming together in the same way, because I feel like the way that the movie kind of presents the dad dying, it makes sense story-wise, it kind of ends up getting explained a little bit, but it still feels like we're being lied to. And so I'm not sure that the movie works quite as well in the same way as Searching in that regard. But I obviously would be interested in watching Missing again, maybe a few months from now, knowing kind of what happens and kind of going in with that fresh mind and really looking for the clues and see if it really kind of warrants a second watch the same way that Searching did. There were some genuinely emotional moments throughout the movie, especially between June and her mom and I forget the guy's name, the guy that she kept calling for that service, and his son. The hell is his name? I thought Storm Reid put on a fantastic performance. It was a good balance of very expressive, but also very restrained and pulled back. I also thought there were some clever detective-like moments in the movie. For example, I think that the password for Grace's email being JuneBug06 or whatever it was instead of just June06 was very clever. And as an audience member, you could put that together before the movie shows you that, because we do hear Grace call Junebug all of the time. There were also some good comedic moments throughout the movie, like when Grace thumbs up June's love you text message at the end. Or when the woman pretending to be Grace was asked, didn't you think it was weird that you were hired to act in this reality series, but there was no crew, there was no cameras, and all she says is like, oh, I just thought he had like a strong artistic vision or something like that. Speaking of funny, at the end of the movie, when Grace stabs the dad in the neck with a piece of glass and the dad stumbles out and he's looking on his laptop for nearby hospitals and he just dies and falls onto his laptop, a row or two ahead of me, there was some guy that very loudly says, as the dad dies, serves him right, bitch. And I thought that was hilarious, but it was also like, that's what kind of movie this is. I kind of got the same experience with Get Out and, any Jordan Peele movie, honestly, Us and Nope and John Wick. I remember this happened, but the audience felt very involved and you felt like you were there watching it, not just with the people that you went with or whatever, but you felt like as a theater, it was like this community experience where you're like, everybody in this entire theater is on the same page right now. And when this thing happens, we're all thinking it, but that one guy is going to say it out loud and everybody in the theater is going to be, yep, that's it. But yeah, great movie. Doesn't quite live up to Searching, but in its own right, it is very much worth watching. I would highly recommend going to the theater to watch it because, like I said, it felt like a bit of like a community experience. Hopefully you get lucky like I did and you have some guy yelling up, a couple rows ahead, serves him right, bitch, because that kind of makes those moments that much stronger and I'll remember that for so long. And yeah, I think that Missing deserves a score of 8 out of 10.